Ward 3 joint meeting. I am Sam Bam here with my partner here, Kim Pritchett, School Board Chair, and Ward 3 Representative on School Board. At this time, we always get started with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if everyone could please stand and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And while everybody's standing, we always open up with a prayer here at the Ward 3 meeting. So at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Dean Freeburn to open us up with prayer. Dean, go forward. Go ahead.
Dear Father, thank you for all that you provided for us. Thank you for the blessings that you show on us. And we give our great thanks for all that you do for the city of Petersburg. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Can you believe it?
Good evening,
Can you
everyone.
believe it?
Thank you for coming out tonight. As he said, I am Ken Pritchett, Chair of the School Board. And tonight, we do have one other school board member, Ms. Joyce Proctor, who represents Ward 5.
My home phone number doesn't work right now, so I wanted to tell you that.
And so tonight, we have with us also Ms. Brown. She is joining us from Zoom, And we also have tonight with us also our Chief Academic Officer, Mr. Paul Brown, who also will be speaking also. As we're getting ready for Ms. Brown to come on, just want to let you know, I have forms with me tonight. We're looking for volunteers. This is your volunteer form if you are interested in volunteering in our schools to help our babies out. Hopefully you picked up one of these wristbands. Our theme this year is a new day, a new way. And we're doing it, well, how are we doing it? We're doing it together. So we're asking you to please consider taking a form with you to sign up to volunteer within our schools to help our babies out, because they really need it. Pre-K, elementary, please help us out. We need all the help that we can get.
Good evening. Thank you so much for allowing me to join via Zoom. As you can hear probably in my voice, I am under the weather, and so in full transparency, I have tested positive for COVID-19. And so what that says to everybody is that COVID is not done, and so it's affecting lots of people, and it happens to be affecting me now. So I am in quarantine with symptoms, but I'm working in quarantine. And so as you know, I was supposed to be there tonight at Vernon Johns Middle School to do you all for Ward 3, and I apologize for not being there. But if COVID-19 ever taught us anything, it taught us that the work can continue via Zoom and via using technology. So thank you all for your patience tonight. And so what I'll do is I'll just say thank you all for joining us and giving us an opportunity as the administration of Petersburg City Public Schools to kind of share a few things with you all. As you know, this is probably day 35, 36 for me, and so I still share that same level of excitement for Petersburg. We have lots of great work to do, but I have no doubt that we're going to be able to get it done. We have the right structures in place, the right people, and the right conditions to do this work. And so tonight you're going to meet some members of the team that are joining the Petersburg team tonight. And so just know that they are an extension of me. And so they have hit the ground running. You'll hear from Ms. Riley, who is the new Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources, who actually arrived in Petersburg today. And then Mr. Paul Brown, the Chief Academic Officer, who has been here for 11 days. And so the team continues to grow. We continue to fill some of the vacancies, and I'm just excited to have them on board to join our other Petersburg teams. And so I just wanted the opportunity to say good evening, and thank you for your patience. And again, there's lots of work to do. I'm excited about it, and I look forward to working with you all as I continue to make it through my 100-day plan. And so I look forward to seeing you all at other meetings, and thank you for your patience tonight. And I'll turn it over with that. I'll turn it over to Board Chair Pritchett. And I know Mayor Brown's there, and I'm going to greet him as well. Because I can't see anybody, but I want to greet everyone community. I just want to say thank you as the acting superintendent, and with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Paul Brown, the Chief Academic Officer, and he'll be able to share some updates and some information for the community. Board Chair Pritchett, is there anything else you'd like me to share?
No, Ms. Brown. I just want to share with everyone, those of you who have met Ms. Brown, I told Ms. Brown is a hugger. I said, Ms. Brown, don't be hugging on everyone because you're going to end up with COVID. And she called me today and said she had COVID. Yeah. So she knows now not to hug everyone.
That's going to be a very tall order, but I connect with people. So if you see me still leaning towards you, I'm going to definitely do it once I don't have any symptoms and I'm COVID negative. And so, yeah, Board Chair Pritchett did tell me, I told you about hugging people. And I knew that was going to happen. But sometimes you get things happen to you when you're trying to do great work. And so I understand that. So yes, Mr. Pritchett, I have that note to self. It's not to be so huggy. I'll do my best to try. I won't promise, but I'll try.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. We appreciate it.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Thank you all for being here. I love to see a crowded cafeteria at Vernon Johns. I see some board members over there. I think that's Ms. Proctor. I see you there. I can see a few board members and I see lots of community members. So again, thank you for your patience and thank you for coming out. And I hope you'll get some good information from my team, and I look forward to seeing you all soon. So you all have a great evening.
Thank you. Take care of yourself.
Thank you.
Okay. And at this time, I'm going to bring up Mr. Paul Brown. He's our Chief Academic Officer.
Good evening. And I want to put this mic down because I like to move, so I'm sorry. I'm Paul Brown. I am the new Chief Academic Officer for Petersburg Public School System. And I am so proud to be here. Tonight, I want to say thank you to the community members. I am elated to see so many people here tonight. I just recently retired from Atlanta Public Schools after serving 32 years. And I'm going to say, without a doubt, the turnout here is way bigger than when we had community meetings in APS. So thank you all for being so invested in our children. Thank you all for so being invested in what we do here in Petersburg. I just want to say thank you and put that forth. So give yourselves a hand for that. So I said I need to move to the side, so So tonight it gives me great honor on behalf of the acting superintendent, Ms. Brown, to kind of introduce some new members of the team that will be serving the students here in Petersburg. And one of the things I will say, my 12 days has been here. The great thing about Petersburg is its people. The most valuable resource we have is our children. And so it is my job to support the team as we nourish our most valuable possession, and that's our children. So right now we have approximately 6 new leaders that have joined the team here at Petersburg. First, me as the Chief Academic Officer, and I'll give you a little bit more about each one of the individuals as we go through the presentation. Dr. Matt Woods, who is also the Assistant Superintendent of Student Services. Ms. Katrina Riley, the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resource, and she's here tonight. Dr. Joseph Rodriguez, he is the principal at Pleasant Lane Elementary School. Chad Bashar is the principal here at Vernon Jones. And we have a new member that will be joining the team, Ms. Anita Summerlin. She will be here on next week. Just a little bit about myself. I bring 31 years, pretty much 32, almost 32 years of education behind. I was a middle school teacher. I taught 6th grade. So parents, if you have a 6th grader, I know like you buy all these school supplies on the first day of school and they come home with no school supplies. And that's just the behavior characteristics of a 6th grader. So the great thing that I've learned is we have the 6th grade academy here, and they're doing an outstanding job. I've been in that school 3 times so far, and even when I've gone, the children are doing great. Staff working with students. just the overall climate and feel of the school is really feeling great. So thank you for having the middle school, the 6th grade academy. I taught 6th grade for about 3 years. Then I taught multi-age. And multi-age was where there were 6th, 7th, and 8th graders all in the same classroom, and they stayed with me for 3 years. I taught Georgia history, basic math, pre-algebra, algebra, and honors geometry. And so I did that, and then I was a assistant principal for 4 years, transitioned to elementary school as a elementary school principal, and then I did my last 11 years as a middle school principal. And then finally, my last position before I retired was an associate superintendent of a K-12. There, I supervised 15 principals in 2 clusters of schools in Atlanta Public Schools. These years were not all in Atlanta Public Schools, they were in 3 different districts within the state of Georgia. And I guess Ms. Brown put a fun fact about me. Everybody who knows me knows my family is really important to me. And my best friend is my mom. And I tell people all the time, you only get one mother, so make sure you do right by her. So that's a fun fact about me. Ms. Riley, who's here, could you please stand? Ms. Riley is joining us with 22 years of experience as an educator. She was a middle school language arts teacher, a high school assistant principal, a district office coaching specialist around data, curriculum, and technology. And she was an elementary school principal for 5 years. She's also was a director of human resource, and she was a chief human resource and talent officer for 2 years. So Ms. Brown wanted to make sure that everyone had an idea of who is joining the team and what they bring to the team. So Ms. Riley, if you could share with us something special about you that we don't know, that's not up here.
Okay, hello everyone, my name is Katrina Riley. Nice to meet all of you. I'm so excited to be here. Today is day 1 for me, so I've hit the ground running, and I could not be in a better place than to end my day with the community here on my day 1 of school here in Petersburg. A fun fact about myself, 2 things I can think of. When I was a 5th grader, I had the opportunity to lay the wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Washington, D.C. They don't do it anymore, allow other people to do it anymore, but at that time, I was fortunate enough to be able, with a small group of my classmates, to participate in that really honorable ceremony inside Washington, D.C. And I'm also a published author.
Sorry to interrupt. We had a minor accident out in the parking lot. I need the owners of a white Nissan license plate UXG 5815 and the owner of a silver Jeep Patriot handicap tag 439187.
So Dr. Matt Woods, who's been here since June, I want to say, he brings with him social studies teacher for 3 years, high school principal for 4 years, middle school principal for 1 year, and he's been the director of student services for 4 years. And he's also a graduate assistant instructor at the graduate level. A fun fact about Dr. Woods is he's married and is the father of a son and a daughter. And I know just last week he was rushing home to make sure his child's first day started off with him being there as a parent. And so that's Dr. Woods. Dr. Joseph Rodriguez is the new principal at Pleasant Lanes Elementary School. He is an educator. He's been an educator for 32 years from New York City. Middle school teacher, 6 years. High school teacher, 13 years. High school assistant principal, 3 years. Division bilingual and ESL coordinator for 3 years. Elementary school principal for 3 years. High school principal for 1 year, and he's been chief of schools for 2.7 years. Fun fact about him, he is a veteran, and that he's married with 2 twin boys and a daughter. And so I had the opportunity to see Dr. Rodriguez in action at Pleasant Lane for like 3 days in a row. And I can recall on one day walking into the cafeteria, and you can tell when the adult has made relationship with children. He was walking in the cafeteria and a student came to him and was telling him about his day. And he wanted to spend some time with Dr. Rodriguez. And Dr. Rodriguez said, hey, I will pick you up after this, because I think he had another class after. He said, I will stop by and get you after that class. But for a student to walk up after the third day of school and already connected with the principal, it shows that the principal is visible and a part of the team. One of the other things that Dr. Rodriguez, he talked about his theme around being responsible, being accountable, and putting students first. And so those are three things that he's challenged his staff around: being responsible, being accountable for what we do, and make sure that our decisions are made based on what student needs. So that's Dr. Rodriguez. So Mr. Bashard is coming from Louisiana. He is the current principal, Vernon Jones. He was a high school teacher for 2 years, middle school coordinator for 2 years, dean of students, high school assistant principal, elementary school for 3 years, and he's been a high school principal in the private sector for 3 years. He enjoys traveling and loves his grandmother, gumbo and rice. And so for those of you know, nothing like mother and grandmother cooking. So Mr. Bashard, I've had the first day Mr. Bashard was here, I brought him over, and it was the first day of school. And we met with the assistant principal, Mr. Harris, who has been really running this place. And if you ever see him, please say thank you to him, because he has been here 5 years and he's really doing a great job of supporting in the absence of a principal. But we came to the cafeteria, Mr. Harris decided he was gonna take Mr. Bashard around the school. I ended up doing 8th grade lunch duty for about 15 minutes, and it was typical middle school students. When they first come in, they want to have a conversation. So I went over and I stood next to wherever they congregated and just said, thank you, please go sit down. And then I went to another group, thank you, young people, go sit down. One little boy said, who are you? I said, sir, I'm the person who's telling you to go sit down, thank you. And so the young man said, okay, and he went and sat down. And the thing about our children, that tells me for middle school students, we always think about that middle school students are rebellious, but really they want structure. And we as adults have to make sure we provide that structure for him. And so we do want to welcome Mr. Bashard. So we have one other position, that's Walnut Hill. I'm trying to make sure I remember all the names of the schools. We are in the process of making that recommendation, and so that will be coming very soon. Want to go over the priorities for Ms. Brown, the acting superintendent. Her first priority for the first 100 days is to engage stakeholders and build trust, build relationships and trust. I guess that's how she got COVID, building relationships. So we know that she's been working on that first one right now because she's been hugging everybody. We want to recommit to teaching, learning, and performance. And so Ms. Brown is actually meeting. We've had a couple of meetings with all the divisions at central office and supporting. I am currently meeting with every individual under my team, doing one-on-ones, asking about the job description, asking about what were their biggest success for last year, and then what would be, how do we support schools? Because at the end of the day, central office is there to support schools and to support the principal. I've also had an opportunity to meet with, Ms. Brown and I met with all of the principals. The principals kind of shared what supports they needed, as well as what things we need to keep doing, stop doing, and start doing. Access to division leadership capacity, making sure that we build the people within our team so that we don't have to go outside of our team and pull anyone else. So that's another priority of Ms. Brown. Evaluate the district finance, operation, and facilities, and then finally analyze student and staff safety and well-being. Because if the adults are not well, they cannot take care of our children. If the kids are not well, they cannot learn. Ms. Brown has talked about, at the end of this journey through Petersburg Public Schools, We want our students to be able to have a choice and an option to enroll in a college they want to get into, or enlist in military. If they don't want to do any of those, they should have the option to go straight into employment. And finally, if they don't want to do any of those three, they should be able to start their own business. And so I want parents to know that these are the 4 choices we want our kids to leave when they leave our high school, that these options are available to them. And so all the work that we do is around supporting students. And that's the conversation that Ms. Brown is having over the next 100 days. And that is something I truly support and believe in. So you have a wristband, and on the wristband, it talks about the theme for this school year, or at least for the next 100 days of the acting superintendent, Ms. Brown. It is a new day, a new way together. And the thing about the most important word up here is together. Ms. Brown cannot do this alone. The teachers can't do it alone. The city can't do it alone. We need the full community to support us. As I started before, our most valuable resource is our children. And it's going to take all of us working together to support and make sure that our children have those options and choices at the end. So I think, Mr. Pritchard, that is the end of this portion of the presentation from Ms. Brown.
Thank you. And we're going to do our questions at the end, okay? Next, I want to bring up Dr. Brandy Lee, who is the Student and Family Engagement Coordinator. She's going to talk about how we're going to try to engage our parents. We really need our parents also to be a part of this, because we know that our kids cannot be successful without the help of our parents as well. Dr. Lee?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. As Chair Pritchard said, I am Dr. Brandy Lee, Student and Family Engagement Coordinator, and I'm really here to talk about an initiative we're super excited about launching this year, and that is our Family Engagement University, or as we also call it, FEU. So Family Engagement University is a series of educational sessions designed specifically for our parents, to support our parents in supporting their learners at home. And so, just as you can imagine from it being called Family Engagement University, it is styled after a university. Classes are offered over the course of 2 semesters. Our parents who sign up get to take elective courses. We've gotten some really good feedback thus far, and we will culminate our time together with a graduation celebration. Classes range from everything to how to advocate for your student in a school setting, how to balance parenting and working. We've gotten parent feedback. Parents want to know more about how to keep their children safe in school. We have information on literacy, information on STEM. If you can think about it or suggest it, we've either put it into our agenda or we've left space to cover it as an objective. Classes are held every Thursday night, with our first class starting this Thursday, August 29th, right here at Vernon Johns at 6 o'clock. We provide transportation, we provide dinner, and we have vendors who will be present to give you even more information than what may have been covered in the sessions. We'll be raffling off incentives just to make sure everyone is motivated and stays excited to attend. So I have some handouts with me. The session is unfortunately closed for our first one just because we had to give numbers to transportation and to our caterer. But the QR code on the form will still allow you access to sign up for future sessions. So if you have any questions, I am going to try to stick around to the end so that I can share handouts with you and I can answer those questions. But I'm super excited and I look forward to seeing you all there, hopefully. Right? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lee, and thank you, Mr. Brown. Are there any questions for the school division before we move on to the city? Yes, Ms. Kidd.
Thank you, Chair Pritchett. My name is Jacqueline Bailey Kidd. I am the Ward 3 resident, 2017 Country Lane Court in Ward 3. I have a question, an issue. And the issue is SOLs. We do not have one school that's accredited. And I don't know about the people in this room, but I am sick and tired of being sick and tired of our children being shortchanged. I don't get an amen. I don't get an amen. We have 137 school districts in Virginia. We are the only one who do not have any schools accredited. Now, I borrowed some information from my friend Bob Rudolph. Bob, she did the research. But what has really disturbed me is that they interviewed Dr. Adrian Castro, a VCU professor, and she came up with several reasons why our schools are not accredited. And one of them is the one what I want to have them address tonight. One of them is, she says, is segregated schools, unfortunately, have higher levels of organization instability, where you might see leaders come and go often. And that is an important factor shaping the retention of teachers. And her solution is more investments need to be made in struggling school districts. She adds there needs to be a renewed effort to focus on every aspect of a student's life. So my question tonight is, what do you propose to do that will get our schools accredited and give our children an equal playing field?
So I can, and I'm speaking on behalf of the acting superintendent, I know that for a fact that a part of the 100-day visit is to really address that. Like when we talk about why our schools are not accredited, when we look at the high school, it was because of science and attendance. So one of the things that we can do as a community is make sure that our students are coming to school every day as much as possible. It's attendance across the board with all of our schools. When we look at the middle school, it's in every area. At some of the elementary schools, and I remember looking at the data, because I actually, day 12, but I did look at the data from the previous school year. One of the conversations that I know that Ms. Brown, as the acting superintendent, has done, and you are definitely correct, if leadership is constantly changing, there's no way to create stability. So as a part of the recruitment strategy, as she recruited people to lead our schools, was them giving a 3-year commitment to Petersburg. And that's what we're starting with. Another area that I do know works is the quality of instruction that we're receiving in our schools. And we've had some turnover with teachers, and so the curriculum team and I, we have actually, since day one, we've been looking at what is our instructional framework. And when I say instructional framework, it's what's happened during the class time during the first 5 minutes. So Petersburg uses in the curriculum something we call gradual release. In gradual release, the teacher is supposed to model for students first. Then the teacher and the students work together. Then the teacher walks around the classroom and actively monitors what's happening and provide feedback to students. But within that gradual release model, we can be very explicit about what behaviors a teacher has and what behaviors should be going on in the classroom for students. And so the curriculum team and I, we are actually looking at how can we better support and make sure that our teachers understand that instructional framework model that we are currently using. So we're starting there. I don't have all the answers for you, but I do know right now, if we can focus on getting our kids in school every day, if we can, Ms. Brown is already addressing building capacity and asking leaders to commit to a 3-year commitment, a minimum of 3-year commitment. That's a part of that interview process. And then finally, if we can address Tier 1 instruction, what does that look like every day for students? Because if you address what Tier 1 instruction looks like every day, and you create, that helps create engagement, that Tier 1 instruction supports what happens during the planning time. That Tier 1 instruction also tells us how that we as central office can support teachers. We have a lot of new teachers. If we look at how this Tier 1 instruction look, it gives them a platform to start off. Because when we look at the teachers that we have here, our teachers are either certified, they're working on their certification. And so part of having a instructional framework, it provides a foundation for how instruction looks in the classroom. And when you think about brain-based learning, our kids learn through patterns. So think about if kids understood that no matter where you go throughout your day, the instruction would happen in a certain form, even though the content may be different. That's already making it easier for our kids to grasp the concepts. Because when kids go to one class and the teacher teaches one way, and we're not saying that it's scripted, but there's opening, there's a work session, there's a closing. And so we're looking at how does instruction look, how do we support, we're looking at how do we build capacity of our teachers and our administrators, how do we keep our leaders here longer, because again, if leadership is not stable, then everything else is rocky. So I would say I'm here for the long haul because I truly believe in children first. Yes, sir.
Can Petersburg attract a full staff of accredited teachers, or what percentage of our teachers are working on accreditation? I've always heard that Petersburg has a hard time attracting teachers, qualified teachers. Is that still present today?
So I know that we are coming up with a strategy to address that. I'm not sure of the numbers, who's also accredited. I don't know those percentages by heart, but I do know that as a part of Ms. Brown's 100-day plan and moving forward, if she is the superintendent, is looking at how do we recruit certified. Because what we do have to do is we have to start recruiting early for teachers, and we have to be very strategic about who we let in to serve our children. And so we want people who are certified, but we also have to build the structures in place to support attracting those people. And that's a bigger conversation with the school board, with HR, developing a strategy. But that is the plan. Yes, ma'am. That is, and so we will have to look at compensation study. So we don't have the answer to that direct question today, but we know that that is a need that needs to be addressed.
Do you know what percentage of our teachers are accredited?
No, I don't. I know that we're gathering that information today because I know the HR department is actually, because we have to submit that to the state, but I could definitely make sure we have it and share it at the next board meeting. To make sure that happens.
Also would like to share also with what you're asking about teachers that are provisionally licensed and teachers that are subs. I received a phone call on Friday from the Cameron Foundation to make Petersburg aware that the board, the Cameron Foundation board, has awarded Petersburg money to give to teachers who are provisionally licensed or who is looking to get that license, maybe a sub, but they're gonna pay for their coursework. Not only are they gonna pay for their coursework, they're also gonna pay for a mentor to mentor the teachers to make sure that they are successful. So that's a big win for Petersburg. So we wanna thank Ms. Marsh. That's it, Miss Marsh called me on Friday to let me know that the board, the Cameron Foundation board, actually approved the monies for Petersburg for our teachers. So we're looking to get more teachers certified within our school division.
See, after they do the certification, what's the incentive to keep them? Petersburg is known to be a training city.
Exactly.
From social services, city workers, they get the experience here and they leave. These 3-year contracts, they had superintendent's contracts they were still paying for. Are we gonna be doing the same thing with these teachers? They're gonna leave and we're still paying out these contracts.
And I do understand what you're saying. As Mr. Brown said, we have to work on a salary. We have to do a salary study. We have to find the funds to pay our teachers to keep them here because we are in competition with Chesterfield, Henrico, and Richmond. And Richmond is one of the highest paying school divisions in this area. And so we are losing teachers to those school divisions.
But I think also, one of the things that, and I always tell, when I was a principal for 18 years, and we were in my district, my previous district, it was very competitive. But one of the things that sometimes people don't leave because of pay, they may leave because of leadership.
Right.
And so one of the things that we're trying to address is establishing a stable leadership at schools. And to your question around the principal being asked to commit to 3 years. And so that's not costing us any money. That's just a part of the interview process. We're asking people to commit to the 3 years. So we won't be paying out to them if they leave, not for the principalship. If that makes sense. Yes, sir.
I'm from Petersburg. At school right over there, I graduated from there in 1978. We have 2 benches sitting right in front of that school. Mr. Pritchard knew who I am. When I was here working, I had to leave Petersburg. I had to leave with a master's because I got no respect. Went somewhere where I got total respect and the school is totally accredited. You know why we're totally accredited? Because we got a principal that simply listens to us back. And the audacity for someone over there, Ms. Fields and Dr. Sterling, to tell me I can't go to that school to volunteer, and you talk about you want volunteers, they will let me volunteer until I graduate. Ms. Fields and Dr. Sterling, that's you right away.
So, Ms. Fields, what we will not do in this meeting, I appreciate your comments, sir.
My point is this. So you're asking for volunteers, you're not really asking for volunteers, because you're not going to do anything. I didn't get an opportunity to volunteer in the school I graduated from, right next door. 2 benches right in front of there, over there right here. Class 7A, that's me. And I couldn't go over there with a master's degree, and I was working in this city. Talk about that.
Children, their clothes are not clean. I reached out to a nurse who partnered with me from Bond Sport in Richmond. They collected dry clothes and laundry detergent, and we went to every elementary school in the city of Petersburg and gave every principal laundry detergent to make sure that kids were coming to school clean. So there are things that we can do individually. We are stronger together. It is very easy to sit up and point fingers and say, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. But I can tell you, if each one of us just do something, that one thing by reaching one family, one of the people that I admire right here, is right here in this room. And her thing is say something, do something, see something, say something, and do something. Stop complaining. Let's sit together in a room at a table and say, this is our problem, but let's come up with a solution. We don't have to like each other, but we need to respect each other and think about our children.
Let's keep these kids this time. Like, I'm actually teaching them you should Petersburg. And if so, like, these guys stay from Virginia, so I'm gonna go about doing that.
So I am not from Virginia. I am not from Georgia, but I taught in Georgia, and I do know what instruction looks like, and I know instructional strategy. So our goal is to support and work with our teachers, because you don't have to be from a place to teach children. But you do have to know what good instructional strategies are. You do have to know how do you support students. And even as we talk about parent engagement, one of the things that I had to do when I was a principal, I had to talk to my staff. Parent engagement does not mean that every parent comes to PTA. Because for some of our parents, the best thing they can do is send their child to our school. And that's because life happens with all of us. And so when life happens, what I ask parents to do with engagement is, if you can send children to school. When I was a principal, if a parent will call me and say, Mr. Brown, I can't come to PTA. I understand that. But Mom, what you can do is sign the agenda when your kid brings it home. And so we are going to have a conversation around what parent engagement looks like, because life happens to all of us, and I do believe that every parent send the best they have to our school. And it's our job to figure out what's the best way to support them.
And I'm all about community, but I'm a proud product of the Petersburg school system. And so I graduated. And over there was first built. We were the class to walk into that school. We were the class, the first graduating class to walk out there in 1975. And this is what I'm telling you, Rashida, I agree with you. I agree that everybody needs to get involved in these schools. And as a former school board member as well. Everybody want to blame the school system. You don't understand how decisions are made. And yes, we've had some turnover, we've had some problems, but they are trying to solve them. And what our job is, and as the president of the NAACP, she's all in, we're all in. We're all in behind you, we're behind every school. And by the way, go ahead, Ken, should I tell you? I started that Welcome Back to School over 15 years ago. So all I'm saying to you, the people that have complaints and gripes and everything, I'm not all positive to this work. You know, I think that if we have problems, we need to address them. But I do believe that when you come here and you come to the table, come with a solution, not just a whole lot of complaints. And I'm gonna sit down.
All right, thank you all so much for that feedback. And like you said, we are all in. And that's why we're in here tonight to definitely support our new superintendent and also her staff. Thank you so much, Mr. Paul Brown. And, being the chief academic officer is no easy task. Like everyone has been saying that's from here, I'm Petersburg. Wow, and the infamous gunshot went off. And that was the last game that we had at Cameron Field. And from until this day, that's been over 30 years ago now. We moved the field over here to Petersburg High School after that game. And my senior year, we were the Road Warriors. We played every game on the road, and we had our homecoming game at Virginia State. And until this time, we had never had a field house at Petersburg High School. So I'm just pleased to be able to be working with Ken and the school board to finally build the field house and sports training facility out at Petersburg High School, because it's a shame it's been 30 years that our kids playing football had to use the woods to go to the bathroom during halftime.
So that's something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is working with the schools as far as building athletics as a pathway for our kids. I know it started year before last, Kim, when we put the turf field down at the high school, because part of one of my questions that I had, and when you have questions, you want solutions. And I said, Ken, how can we get middle school football back going here at Vernon Johns? And they were saying, yeah, it could be back going, but the field in Petersburg High, back then, grass can't handle the amount of games that the middle school and the high school use. So therefore we said, Ken, let's put a turf field out there, because we're not gonna have that excuse anymore on use of the field. So we was able to get the kids working here. Now we're working on just not getting them working throughout the summer, but we want to continue to keep them employed throughout the school year, because when we did this internship last year, we saw kids coming back to City Hall when school started and said, we want to keep working here. We want our job back. We're in school, but we want to keep working, because a big part of our kids is our kids really want to be able to work and earn a living and be able to fill a lot of the jobs here in the city with Petersburg talent coming fresh out of school. We just hired 2 amazing ones working with us right now. Isaiah Scott, who just graduated from Virginia State. He was our quarterback here at Petersburg High for many years. He was in the dual enrollment program here at Petersburg. People do not give enough props to Petersburg schools and their dual enrollment program, which is getting our kids with an associate's degree at 18 years old and a high school diploma. And Messiah graduated with a bachelor's degree from Virginia State at 20 years old, and now working on his master's. And what did he say? He said, I want to be mayor one day. I said, Messiah, you're going to be mayor and then some one day. So just come on in, because it's all about us grooming our next level of talent that we have right here within the city. Because regardless of what people say, and the gentleman said that right there, you have to let a lot of this stuff go in and out your ear about what's going on in Petersburg, because our school system is doing a great job educating the kids that want to learn, that their parents are supporting them, because it starts with family all the way around them, encouraging them to come to school every day. It's the little things. Miss accreditation by not coming to school. So it's little things like that that we have to come up with ways to figure out how to engage our youth, because they are our future. And just to talk about brainstorming of things. Ken and I, we were brainstorming last week, because we get pictures from our kids that really don't like the school lunches, okay? And the school lunch is not what it used to be. Back when I was in school, the little ladies there was cooking up real food. Now our food is not as appealing as it used to be. So that's why Ken and I, we're working now to try to do something called Food Truck Fridays. I said, Ken, let's try to get food trucks up at Petersburg High School to give our kids some sort of incentive. On Fridays, you can come out and buy tacos or buy barbecue or hot dogs and hamburgers to create that type of a welcoming atmosphere. So we just want to engage, and that's important that we have these discussions with you today, so you all can think as well and give us ideas of what you think that we should do as well. At this time, I also want to recognize school board member Joyce Proctor is right there, and also our new director of social services. Stand up, please. All right, Mr. Bianco. Just started on the job. How many weeks has it been there?
5 weeks.
5 weeks. So it's all about us bridging the gap with the schools. His department will do everything they can to make sure our kids have the resources that they need and the family structure that's in place to be supportive of the schools. That's why he's here today. So if anybody have any need, any kids with needs, he's right here to help you, okay?
Thank you. And if I could, our new assistant director just started today.
Okay, wonderful. Welcome aboard. Yes, exactly. So at this time, I introduce filling in for our city manager, who is at another meeting that is going on that I was supposed to be at, so he's tag teaming for me at another meeting. So I have the privilege of having the great deputy city manager, Mr. Kenneth Miller, come on up today.
Hey, good evening, everybody. really important number. If you got a pen handy, it's 804-586-3411. That's my phone number. 804-586-3411. That's not City Hall number, that's my personal cell phone number. If you got a challenge that you just need, it could be a question, it could be something that you're not comfortable with, just give me a call. You can come on down to the office and we can talk about it. There's a number of folks in this room, you better not, because you know who I know who you are. Number of folks in this room who take it, and recognize that we're here to help. Just want to pick up one thing off of what the mayor said. I think it's really important about our summer intern program. Number of kids, and I got to say the schools were really a big part of what we did this summer. You may or may not know, but our summer intern program, again, I can't thank the partners enough, our constitutional officers as well as our city employees. We have a dress code for our kids, so we don't allow the kids to have their trousers drooping down and wear hats and hoodies and stuff inside. We have, the kids had an opportunity to go to the African American History Museum, the one in, not in DC, but the one in Richmond. The kids wrote 2 papers, the kids did interviews, the kids gave presentations, and so much so that the kids that worked at the golf course hosted 2 days of their colleagues to come to the golf course and not to play golf, but to talk about some of the challenges they were faced with being young people. And they talked about how they could, and they did it over a meal, and the meal was prepared by them. One of the criteria that I've heard a lot about that is really important to get in the school program, to get into the intern program, is attendance. Attendance. And the schools knew that, and they drove that, and I want to thank them, they really drove that so the kids couldn't miss X amount of days. I don't know what the numbers were, but there was an attendance thing. The attendance is so important, and the mayor, myself, and Ms. Williams, and a number of other members in the city, we meet every Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the library with the state, with the governor's office. His representatives come down. And they're involved. They think that attendance is an issue too, not just in the city of Petersburg, but across the entire region. So, we're not in a silo with respect to attendance. I think it's really important. So some of the incentives that we're talking about, that we preach to the young people, was that next summer, we want to make the program bigger than what it was this summer. This was our biggest summer. But we drove home that you have to come to school, and you have to get recommendations. Recommendations from your teachers, from your parents, and parents had to be on board. So I'm taking this time to say to all the parents in the room who had a young person in that program, thank you so much for your cooperation. This was a team effort, and so I would encourage you. I think I would really implore you to recognize the value of what we can do. Our young people, I don't know if you see them a lot, but our young people are actively engaged, and they are working, and they want to go to college. They want to have nice jobs. They want to have nice things. So my challenge is, because I challenge myself, not you, I'm challenging myself now. Am I creating the best example for these young people? Am I being the best role model that I can be? Am I being the best person that I can be in my verbiage, in my posture, in my command presence? I hold myself accountable because I have that Messiah Scott that the mayor mentioned. He works right across the hall from me. We also have Keelan Graves, who I'm fighting to keep in our city because other people are looking at these young folks and trying to take them because they see the value in our young people. So please it's not what you think. These people these young folks really want to be good stewards of our community. Another thing that we're doing now, I would ask you to pass on, because all you folks are still eligible for a hire. A lot of y'all are young folk too. So we're still hiring. The city of Petersburg is still hiring. We're open for business. Again, if you're not sure about it, 804-586-3411. I can kind of point you in the direction where you might want to go with respect to hiring. Or if you know somebody, if there's somebody in your household who wants a job, come on down, let's see what we can do. Come to us first. Don't go to the school board first. Come to us, because we need people too. Mr. Pritchard, none, you know, but we just want to get our own folks. It's a team effort, and we're spending a lot of time in our cemetery cutting the grass. We had a terrible time with the grass growing so high throughout our community. And, you know, for me to tell you we're short-staffed, that's a cop-out. That's a cop-out. And I go around the city myself with trash pickers, and you know, I have a little bottle. People laugh at me, don't think I'm crazy, but I have a bottle of organic vinegar that I use to spray the grass with, spray the weeds that I can get when I'm out picking up trash. Guess what? It works. It kills the weeds. So we are working on the grass. The last 2 weeks of that rain, it really caught us. In the cemeteries, we have inmates. We pay inmates from the prison they come from, Nottoway Penitentiary. And we're changing lives. You are. You're changing lives. Those men that come to us, we're making 45 cents an hour. They're now making $13 an hour. It goes right to their canteen. They can't spend it. We were paying contractors $20 an hour, and we were not getting half the work that we're getting out now. So we're getting better, but we're getting better because of you, not because of anything I'm doing or anybody else is doing in the city. It's a team effort, y'all, and we're getting better. So if you have a question for me, I'd be more than happy to answer it. I got when I first came here, I got a notice from a person. I'm going to check on that. I'll get back with you by tomorrow morning. If you're not sure about something, you want to talk about it here, just give me a call. I'll meet you. I'll come to your house. I'll meet you. If you're having a problem with a city employee, just give me a call. I will come to your house myself. I won't pass it off or point it off on anyone else. I believe that the buck has to stop with someone. So if there's something wrong in the city, blame me. Blame me. I got thick shoulders and thick skin, and I don't worry about stuff. I'm very comfortable in that. But if there's something right, pat yourself on the back because you did it, not me. Mr. Mayor, that's all I have.
You know the big piece about you coming from Colonial Heights Fire to here? Colonial Heights Fire run EMS service. And that's not that big here. We got to run EMS service from all of these fire stations that we have. And can't be passing up to Southside University to grab one station. I want to ambulance coming from one of 4 fire stations. With 4 ambulances, and I need firemen on the ambulance. I don't need everybody driving the fire truck. Because the bulk of our calls are EMS calls, and just passing the call to Southside University who are on Grand Road. And if they don't have an ambulance, we call it for mutual aid from Colonial Heights and from Dinwiddie. And it's not fair to our citizens. So that's the first priority of Chief Hoover, is to build out our EMS through Petersburg Fire. Because it's long overdue, and that's for short response times, because instead of coming from one location, they're coming from 4. And having 4 ambulances, and we won't be able to staff those, and we were just not to keep passing the buck on service like that, because we provide us that state. And you know that we dealt with this back when, what was our DJ that passed? Over 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
Oh,
Mitch, yeah, right. All right. And there was an issue then. And right, exactly, with response times. And that's something that Chief Hoover has made as a first priority, is to get those guys staffed up and on the ambulance, and not saying that we don't want to run, or we can't run this ambulance, okay?
Suggestion, it's not a question. Going back on the topic of the schools.
Yes.
What I started, as we talked about so many different things, I started thinking about some of these pulling threads together. I heard your presentation about 4 E's. That's kind of the theme, whatever, preparing our students for enrollment, enlistment, you know, whatever. And employment, entrepreneurship. Anyway, but basically what they're going to do after they graduate from school. And we're also talking a lot about attendance. I started thinking too about my husband's background as a job trainer in Petersburg, and some of the challenges of working with difficult to place young people. And attendance is one of the, for some folks, it's very hard because they haven't maybe come up with a model of having like a
second highest rate of low attendance is at Westview Early Child.
Oh, man. Well,
So
start
that
early.
means, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that means that we have to get on those parents that's just saying, that's just gonna roll over and say, I'm not taking getting dressed and taking you to school, just stay and play. But that's something that we're working on the school side, and I know Ken, on your side, I know last year you had vans, I don't know if y'all seen them, but they had like insurance vans that go out to these homes and knock on doors and ask, why little Johnny not in school today? Little Johnny has been so many days, what do you do about that? And then we have to reinforce that. And we reinforce that.
Yes, we have hired more truancy officers, and also what we've done this year also, we found out that a lot of our students are dealing with mental health issues. We have a team there of mental health professionals. We have to have a doctor or a master's degree in order, and you have to be a licensed professional counselor or a master's in social work. And so we do have those professionals now that can give us support to our kids who may be dealing with mental health also.
We have met with Jennifer, Congressman and Congress recently, and so we will be applying for another federal grant in November to fix that bridge. At the same time, we're going to put it back in again to the General Assembly for the upcoming session in January. So we are diligently working to get the funding for that. It's about $3.2 million. Every year they put it off, it goes up another 15%. We can't put the same bridge back. Because now the floodplain has changed tremendously. All the flood maps changed last year. So it's got to be a much different bridge than what was there before. But we are working on that.
So we're gonna score those revenues, and then if not, we may have to look at bonding, to borrow money to fix the bridge, because we're not gonna go another year without starting, the study and getting design and everything right to fix that bridge. Because, like I say, that it's very important to keep that waterway open. We can't close it, we can't fill it in for the road, it has to be actually a bridge. So, this next General Assembly session, going into next year, it should be in next year's CIP.
Say that nobody deserves to live in those conditions. And whether it's a carriage house, the White House, your house or my house, it deserves an eyeball on it and hands on it. And we're not gonna stop until we get to the bottom of that. I'm a little bit aggressive. I say fully permitted. But then we gotta work with the people at. You know, we gotta make sure we got them somewhere safe, and it's a big balance, you know. Each and every last one of us got the opportunity every day to be like those people at the carriage house. There's no difference between any of us. There's no difference whether they poor, rich, black or white. We have an opportunity to be just like them, just in a hiccup. And this is why I move so hard, because I want to make sure if I get that hiccup, that I'm taken care of by my own policies, my own force, you know, by the city's policies and force. So we're gonna make sure that we keep pushing and pushing hard, because it can happen. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tri-City Garden Village, which was on Fillmore Street. These people had mental problems, but they had a terrible living condition. And there's no more of that, you know. And the thing about this carriage house thing, me and the mayor talked about it, we want to make sure we set a blueprint and a precedence to make sure no apartment complex is treating these people like that. Because they get to where the point they come into the city, they develop, and they leave, and they don't manage or maintenance anything to our standards. And we're getting ready to set the standards on that to make sure that whatever we do at this carriage house, we're gonna make sure it's a blueprint for every apartment complex in the city, whether it's city owned or privately owned. We don't care. We're coming at you. We're not gonna have you treat our people any kind of way. That's all. Thank you.
Currently, I know Mr. Fried is retiring, and I haven't heard. Have anyone heard that from me? Do we have any that yet? Because I know, not to my knowledge, that we have one. We have to talk to Ms. Mary Hollow, who's the chair. She has some people that's interested, but I know she hasn't named the replacement yet. And like you say,
next in line, to keep that continuity of the housing authority, definitely let you know, and we're invited to the next meeting.
Ward 3 joint meeting. I am Sam Bam here with my partner here, Kim Pritchett, School Board Chair, and Ward 3 representative on School Board. At this time, we always get started with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if everyone could please stand and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And while everybody's standing, we always open up with a prayer here at the Ward 3 meeting. So at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Dean Freeburn to open us up with prayer. Dean, go for it. Go ahead.
Dear Father, thank you for all that you provided for us. Thank you for the blessings that you show upon us. And give our great thanks for all that you do for the city of Petersburg. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right, next.
Can you believe it?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. As he said, I am Ken Pritchett, Chair of the School Board. And tonight, we do have one other school board member, Ms. Joyce Proctor, who represents Ward 5.
My home phone number doesn't work right now, so I wanted to tell you that.
And so tonight, we have with us also Ms. Brown. She is joining us from Zoom, from Zoom. And we also have tonight with us also our Chief Academic Officer, Mr. Paul Brown, who also will be speaking also. As we're getting ready for Ms. Brown to come on, just want to let you know, I have forms with me tonight. We're looking for volunteers. This is your volunteer form if you are interested in volunteering in our schools to help our babies out. Hopefully you picked up one of these wristbands. Our theme this year is a new day, a new way. And we're doing it, well, how are we doing it? We're doing it together. So we're asking you to please consider taking a form with you to sign up to volunteer within our schools to help our babies out, because they really need it. Pre-K, elementary, please help us out. We need all the help that we can get.